I studied the top 1% Etsy shops that have scaled beyond 10,000 sales in the last 2 years. Not older shops, not shops that started during COVID or prior to COVID and that whole little ramp up. I spent time looking at just the shops that have grown recently. And my reason for doing so, I wanted to understand what are the top strategies that these newer shops are doing and implementing to see this growth. After digging through dozens of these successful shops, I turned what I found into a 5-part template that you can use to shape your own strategy. So let's break it down. The first thing that I noticed that these top 1% shops are doing is they are product specific. Most of these shops only are focusing on one specific product type, not a mix of all types of things. Of the shops that I studied, apparel was the #1 product type, then followed by mugs and then ornaments. But I do want to say that apparel products really took the lead. Those were majority of the shops that I found that have seen success in the last 2 years. Specifically with apparel, these top shops were all selling the Comfort Colors products, specifically the Comfort Colors t-shirt, which I also have sold tons of this product, especially in the last few years. I've really noticed that Comfort Colors is a name and a brand that people are actively searching for. Many shoppers are very aware of the quality that Comfort Colors products are, and I personally think that just the unique color variations that they offer are a huge selling point in why they do so well. Because they are also a higher quality product, people are often able to price higher for them, and I've personally seen profits of $8 to $12 per shirt sold for this brand. My personal thoughts on why this is working so well, being product specific for many of these new shops, is that it's helping them find a focus to help build momentum. Having this focus allows these shops to optimize much more efficiently. When you have one product type that you're selling, you can reuse a lot of the same things from listing to listing, such as many of your listing images, your size chart, color chart, information about the product. Really, most of the time, you're only just changing a few variables like your SEO and the design on the product, but the rest of it stays the same, which makes creating more listings a lot easier to do, which I think is part of the reason why these shops have been able to scale so quickly. Now, the second thing that these shops are doing, and this is something that honestly is a bit more new to me, and it's something that I don't see anybody else talking about, and that is using email marketing, which I think we're all familiar with email marketing, but in combination with email marketing, I'm noticing that a lot of these shops are also introducing text marketing. And it was really interesting for me to see this because in my own personal life shopping recently, when I go to a website that I'm looking to buy something on, for example, recently I bought a new pair of Hey Dudes, the shoes, and when I went to their website, they immediately have a pop-up asking me to input my email for a discount. This is the classic thing that I think we're all very familiar with shopping online, but what I noticed that they did next, and what I've been noticing on several other websites, is that after I put in my email, they're also asking for my phone number. And honestly, I think about half of the messages in my phone right now are from companies that are using text marketing. And honestly, it works pretty well. I mean, it's worked on me. Maybe I'm an easy customer, I don't know. But realistically, I would assume that most people, they have their phone on them at all times, and they're most likely in their messages rather than their email. Don't get me wrong, email marketing is still a very prevalent source of marketing, and it is something that these shops are doing as well, but I think that extra layer of text marketing is taking them to a new competitive edge. I think the main takeaway here is that these shops aren't just relying on Etsy's organic customer base or even just Etsy ads, but they are starting to source their own way of bringing in customers and bringing in more repeat customers as well. Now, naturally, because this sparked my curiosity a little bit, I wanted to figure out what's the best way to actually do this and incorporate something like text marketing into my own shops. What I found in my research is that shops that are doing this effectively are using a platform like OmniSend in order to have both email marketing as well as SMS marketing or text marketing. With OmniSend, you can send emails, set up automations, and text your customers all in one platform. So you don't need multiple different accounts, multiple different platforms, which that was honestly my biggest hang-up when I was doing this research, is finding one platform that can truly do it all for you. The important thing to note with all of this is in order to actually get this started, you need to create a landing page. And the top shops that are doing this have a link to their landing page in their announcement section, in their listing descriptions, and some even even had a listing image that had a QR code that would direct somebody to that landing page. The purpose of a landing page is essentially it is just a page that somebody clicks a link, follows a QR code to land on, where they are able to opt in to that email list and also opt in to the text marketing. When a customer opts in, that essentially gives you permission to use that email and phone number for marketing purposes. And what's great about building this list with time is it is something that you own. So if for some reason something happened to your Etsy shop, you still have a list of customer information that you legally own and can use to market your business. This is also great if you have long-term goals of moving off of Etsy and onto something like Shopify, creating your own website and selling your products elsewhere. If this is something that you're curious to try, I actually reached out to OmniSend to see if I could get a discount code for you. And they were so kind to give me a code that is going to get you 30% off your first 3 months. You can use TaylorPOD30 with my link in the description box below, and you can get this started for your shop. The third thing I noticed with these top shops is that they're actually using a lot more flat lay mockups. This is something that I found very interesting because lifestyle mockups have notoriously always worked really well for me. Don't get me wrong, I do like to use a little bit of a combination of both, but what I found is that a lot of these top shops, they're using just the same simple flat lay mockups and just reusing them for all of their listings, which honestly, I can appreciate the simplicity. It can be really overwhelming to find the right mockups and find things that are going to actually convert customers. So this simplicity is a total win in my book. The important thing to note about these flat lay mockups that these shops are using is that they're still very high quality mockups. I actually found some of the shops that these mockups are being purchased from directly on Etsy. I will link them in the description box below. But I think really why these are working is because they're just very simple and they clearly show what is being sold, which is really the key in your mockups for your product type. It needs to be clear to the customer what they're getting, what the product looks like, and it needs to accurately match what they're going to receive when they order it. And these mockups that top sellers are using are doing just that. The fourth thing that I noticed with these top shops was their keyword strategy. These shops are clearly using a mix of broad keywords, more niche specific keywords, as well as some long tail keywords. And this combination is something that I think is really increasing their visibility. So let me give you a little bit of a visual breakdown of what I'm seeing so that you can actually apply this to your SEO. Most of the time, the listings in these shops are starting their titles with something incredibly specific to what they're selling. The first keywords that they're targeting often look something like this. They're pretty high search volume, but they're not as competitive of keywords. And this is what they lead their titles with. From there, they then dive into some more competitive keywords that are a little bit more broad and what I think is helping them grow and get more visibility on Etsy. These next two sections of keywords, if you think about their title almost divided into thirds, the second third and third of the title looks something like this. And this little concoction of keywords, I think, is really helping them match to a specific customer base, getting into an area that's a little bit less competitive. And then from there, their additional keyword phrases that they're using are helping to increase that reach. This is actually something that I've been studying for quite a while, and I've developed my own little theory behind it that I like to call the bucket theory. And each third of your title is divided into 3 separate buckets that essentially help you get visibility, reach, and ultimately bestseller status. If you're curious to dive a little deeper into how this works, I will have a link to my full program, Plan, Scale, Profit, down in the description box below, which walks you through everything that you need to know with the bucket theory and this SEO strategy. The final thing that I noticed of all of these top shops is that they have a clear and cohesive aesthetic. From their banners to their mockups that they're using to just their overall branding that you see in their storefront as well as continued into their listing images. These top shops have consistent branded elements throughout all of these features. They're using the same colors, the same fonts. With this, less is more. I'm not seeing more than 2 to 3 colors maximum. The colors that they're choosing using are clean, neutral colors. For the fonts that they're using, same thing. They're not really using more than 2 fonts, more so just like a header font and then a body style font, keeping it clean and clear and easy to understand and read at a glance. Again, a big theme that I'm seeing here is just simplicity, which I'm hoping is giving some peace of mind that it doesn't need to be complex. There's a phrase that I hear often that I really like, and it's that simple scales, fancy fails. That's really the theme that I'm seeing with a lot of these top shops. They're keeping it simple and they're scaling as a result. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and boop the subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. I will have all links and resources mentioned in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Let me know in the comments down below, which of these 5 things are you most interested in implementing in your shop? Are there any that you're currently doing or any that you're interested in trying? As always, I hope that you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I will see you in the next one. Bye.